Argentina 3, Algeria 0. France 3, Senegal 1. Norway 4, Iraq 1. If you look at the opening box scores from the World Cup, the heavyweights did exactly what they were supposed to do. Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappé, and Erling Haaland all found the back of the net, giving fans the highlight reels they expected. But a closer look at how those goals were scored reveals a clear divide. We need to figure out if these wide margins came from actual tactical dominance or if three generational talents simply covered up some deep systemic flaws. This split-screen graphic shows the trade-off we are dealing with: superstar output versus systemic control. On the left, we have those comfortable final scores, but on the right, look at the line graph tracking possession and expected goals. Notice the severe, jagged dips for both France and Norway during the first 60 minutes of their matches. Building your entire attack around a single dominant individual requires tactical compromises. As the graph flashes red to highlight those control dips for France and Norway, you can see how much they struggle to dictate the pace. Contrast that with Argentina's steady, elevated line. To predict who actually has a realistic chance at a deep tournament run, we have to look past the final score. We need to evaluate the tactical inputs, how each team is specifically structured to feed its star. Let's start with Argentina's 3-0 win over Algeria. Lionel Messi celebrated his 200th international cap with a hat-trick, completely dismantling the defense. This top-down tactical flowchart shows exactly how Argentina made that happen. Alexis McAllister, Rodrigo de Paul, and Enzo Fernandez act as a high work rate vacuum in the midfield. You can see them absorbing the incoming defensive pressure from Algeria and quickly distributing the ball into this designated red free zone higher up the pitch. That specific engine is what frees Messi from tracking back. As the node in the red free zone receives the ball, it instantly generates 3 successful scoring paths. He orchestrates from deep and executes with clinical efficiency, whether it's a distance strike, a tap-in, or a curled finish. The cost of this setup is width. Argentina sacrifices a traditional attacking presence on the right side, which forces their fullbacks into exhausting overlapping runs to provide all the exterior spacing. Algeria tested this setup. They play a physical mid-block and even had a stunning curling goal disallowed for offside early on. Despite that pressure, the Argentine structure remained cohesive. Argentina's 3-0 result is built on a flawless ecosystem. They fully accept their captain's physical limitations and engineered a midfield specifically to mitigate them. France arrived at their 3-1 victory over Senegal through a very different route. Despite the massive collective talent on this roster, their first half was dead and conservative. This quadrant chart plots effort on the horizontal axis against impact on the vertical. Look at this data point down in the bottom left corner. Playing a low-tempo game against Senegal's physical block left Kylian Mbappé with 0 dangerous touches for the first 45 minutes, allowing the underdogs to build confidence. They needed an external spark, which came from Michael Olise.
Watch his node rocket into the top right high-efficiency quadrant. His individual playmaking broke the lines and sparked a devastating 14-minute spell that dragged the entire team's second-half data point up with him. Because he spent the first half conserving energy, Mbappé was perfectly positioned to explode in offensive transition. He blew past the defense to score his 14th World Cup goal and secure the win. But refusing to press from the front creates a massive burden further back. It forced center-backs Dayot Upamecano and William Saliba, along with Adrien Rabiot, to absorb immense sustained pressure from Senegal's attackers. Relying on explosive individual spells instead of sustained passing sequences works against a tired defense, but it is a massive red flag. Top-tier teams will expose a squad that sleeps through the first half. Then we have Norway's 4-1 victory over Iraq, driven by an Erling Haaland debut brace. This pitch heat map illustrates Norway's tactical problem. There is a glowing cluster right at the top edge of the penalty box, and a separate glowing cluster deep in the central midfield. Between them is a vast, empty, dark space. They use Haaland purely as an isolated box poacher, removed from the build-up play. By keeping their striker disconnected from the midfield, Norway is effectively playing with 10 men during their possession phases. As a result, Martin Odegaard was completely overrun for the first 75 minutes. Watch the red arrows representing the Iraqi midfielders swarm that deep central cluster, suffocating it and completely cutting off the supply line to the front. Odegaard eventually forced a breakthrough with a corner kick delivery. But on the other end, Iraq's Ayman Hussein successfully exposed Norway's lack of central control, scoring a brilliant header and pressuring their defense. That 4-1 scoreline is a mirage. If Norway has to rely on defensive blunders to feed their striker because their midfield cannot bridge the gap, their tournament run will be short-lived. To figure out who is actually primed for a deep run, we can look at this tournament readiness scorecard. We are grading Argentina, France, and Norway across 3 metrics: superstar efficacy, midfield cohesion, and underdog vulnerability. Looking at Argentina's row, they fill up with top-tier marks. They earn a maximum score in midfield cohesion. They traded traditional spacing to build a working engine around an aging star, setting the current gold standard for systemic stability. Down in France's row, they are undeniably lethal, but vulnerable. They receive a poor grade in underdog vulnerability because sleeping through first halves is a dangerous habit they can't afford to keep. Finally, Norway's row flashes a failing grade in midfield cohesion. Their deceptive scoreline hides a severe disconnect that heavily caps their ceiling against elite squads. A superstar striker guarantees you a high floor. They will get you out of the group stage, but absolute midfield cohesion is what dictates a team's championship ceiling. If you found this breakdown helpful, drop a like and share this video with the friends in your group chat who only look at the box scores. Subscribe for more objective, hike-free football analysis.